Janine Pirro here with an urgent warning. While we celebrate Trump's historic win, inflation continues to drain your IRA and 401k. And China is now targeting your money with a kill shot on the dollar. That's why thousands of Americans are shielding their savings with gold and contacting the experts at Colonial Metals Group. For a free 2024 gold guide that explains everything, go to freegoldguide.com/Pirro, Pirro, or call 800-965-8004. Don't let America's enemies ruin this victory and steal your retirement money. The experts at Colonial Metals Group are the only folks that I trust to bulletproof your wealth in gold. Go to freegoldguide.com/Pirro or call 800-965-8004, 800-965-8004 for a free 2024 gold guide to learn how you can protect your life's work and if you can qualify for a free home safe and up to $7,500 in free silver now. freegoldguide.com/Pirro.
You're commuting home with Katz and Cosby. Now here's John Catsimatidis and Rita Cosby on 77 WABC.
Right now we have Ron Vitiello, former border chief. And Ron, we are so happy to have you here because on day one, President Trump says he will begin the biggest mass deportation in American history.
Well,
what is
it the criminals? Let's not do what NBC does or ABC television or CBS. I mean, originally we all thought, and it's going to be the criminals and the drug addicts and the murderers to go first. Is that what it still is?
Yeah, Ron, that's a great question. Is it, I mean, he has made it clear about criminals, but is that it? Give us the lowdown.
Yeah, well, thanks for inviting me and Merry Christmas. What I would say about the operations that will require ICE, the people of the front line, aided by state and local law enforcement, maybe enhanced by other federal agencies, will target people who are in the country illegally who have also committed crimes. There, as we talked before, there's about 1.3 million people who have already been ordered by a judge. Nearly half of those are people who also have criminal convictions. And so that's where you want to start. But in Trump 1, he did put out early days an executive order that allowed ICE not to look the other way when they found other targets along with a criminal that they were targeting specifically. So targeted enforcement operations against convicts who are in the country illegally or deportable to safely arrest them, put them in detention and on a path for removal. But if they are found with other individuals who are also in the country illegally, ICE will be empowered to take them into custody and address them to the immigration court. They may or may not be put on a path for removal right away. They might not be prioritized for the logistics involved in obtaining travel documents.
Get rid of the criminals first. I mean, that's the real, the drug addicts, the people that, like the guy on the subway station.
The Guatemalan. The Guatemalan migrant.
Get rid of those people.
Right. I mean, who would be protecting somebody like that, John, who lit that woman on fire?
Politicians are going to be protecting those criminals. Because I said WABC will put out $1 million out there to bring down those politicians.
Yeah, this is a very good point. If the local jurisdictions, including New York City, cooperate fully with ICE, most of the arrests that they make will be of people who are in custody of local authorities who are also in a jail setting. That does not require frontline agents to knock on someone's door or go to someone's place of business or try to apprehend them at large. And so it's better to do it with cooperation. It will really target people who are threats to public safety because they're in the country illegally and they've been arrested by local authorities. That is the best, most productive way to find people who are criminals. If local politicians object to you, what is Tom Homan going to do with the local politicians? Is it obstruction of justice? It is obstruction if they take physical action to prevent the work of immigration enforcement. And I also think that there are levers that they can pull at the Justice Department, certainly from the bully pulpit at the White House. But Pam Bondi could, warn people that are taking in millions of dollars in justice assistance grants that they will no longer be eligible for those grants from the federal government if they do not cooperate on this effort. And so those are the kinds of things that will be in play day one. And the jurisdictions that fail to cooperate are going to find out the hard way that incentives drive activity. And so let's take those incentives away for grants from the Justice Department and leverage those cities to either participate and help with this deportation effort or get off the gravy train for tax dollars from the Justice Department.
You know, Ron Vitiello, former border chief, one of my favorite lines, I think, in the last few weeks that we've heard. First off, the Denver mayor, who has been part of this sort of, resistance to deportation, came out and said, oh, I dare Tom Homan to put me in jail. And my favorite answer from Tom Homan, was, well, great, we have something in common. He's daring me to put him in jail, and I'll put him in jail. You know, I mean, he's not messing around. We all know Tom.
That's absolutely right. These mayors, these jurisdictions that want to pretend that they're standing up for the little guy because they're trying to get people who are criminals in the country, keep them from being deported. It's nonsense. It's a destructive policy. And guys like the Denver mayor, they don't deserve to be representing the men and women of Denver, Colorado. He's supposed to protect those citizens that are there. And we know that Denver and nearby communities are suffering greatly because of these gangsters that are all over the country now, wreaking havoc in places like Aurora, Colorado. And so there's no reason for him to stand up for these folks that are in the country illegally and have broken other local laws.
You know, Ron, you brought up also Aurora, Colorado, because that was like a scene out of Scarface with the guys, walking around. And then speaking of, mayors and governors, Jared Polis there, remember? In Colorado came out, no, there's no problem there. And then neighbors were like, no, let me show you what's happening.
He must have been smoking too much marijuana in Colorado.
Yeah, you're right. They're doing a lot of that. You're right, John. This
is the Democratic view. Remember, we were told for the first several years of the Biden administration that there was no crisis at the border and that people weren't coming and that the border was secure. It's the same mentality that favors lying to the American public and favors chaos on our southwest border instead of the actual truth of what's going on and public safety and enhancing public safety.
So Ed Cox here, Ron. So considering that there's going to be some local oppositions, particularly in major cities where most illegal aliens who are criminals are, my estimate is there's about 600,000 by the numbers you gave. How long is it going to take to get rid of them when you're talking about mass deportations and you want to focus on the criminals first?
Well, it depends on the level of cooperation. It depends on what jurisdiction. It's going to take a while. Usually the government can deport a couple 100,000 people a year. If you focus and scale up the capability of the front line, you could do a lot more than that. And assessing what Tom and the president are saying, they could do a heck of a lot more than that, but it's going to take a while. We just had the largest border in the last 4 years. We've had the largest border illegal activity, migration across the southwest border than we've ever seen in the history of the entire border. And so there's a lot to do, right? The government estimates is about 11 million encounters by CBP, and they've said that 85% of those encounters have been released into the United States. We also know that there's a number of unknown gotaways that no one really can calculate. The president on the campaign trail was saying that could be 20 million people. So there's a lot to do in a short time. And so they've got to scale up the frontline capability. They've got to scale up the logistics for safe arrests, detention, transportation, and repatriation. So there is quite a bit to do. But if you scale up all of those things, you could get somewhere north of 400, 500,000 year one. And then depending on how you do the targeting and depending on how quickly you can move through the other parts of the process, it's absolutely necessary with, nearly 15 million people who have come into the country in the last 4 years.
With 26 days to go, maybe 25 days to go, President Biden, I hope the Border Patrol is ignoring what Mayorkas is saying and protecting our borders.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they've got the Biden administration has no credibility on this issue. They tried to sell off the border wall pieces that they have left to rot in the desert weeks before the inauguration on January 20th. And so, they're not interested in protecting America. They're not interested in Americans. They care more about this woke policy and chaos at the border. And so, yeah, we know that the men and women of the front line, DHS, all the way around, ICE and the Border Patrol, are very eager to work under Trump 2.0 because under Trump 1.0, they had all the capability that they were asking for, and they had the support of the Oval Office, and now they're going to have, a trusted leader advising the president on these issues right at the White House and Tom Homan. So, morale is going up as we speak. And once they're allowed to do their job the way that they know how and how to solve this problem, we'll all be better off for it.
Well, thank you so much. We got to take a break right now. Thank you so much, Mr. Vitiello, and Merry Christmas. And hopefully January 20th at 2 p.m. when the new president takes the office, the world is going to get better.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you for all you do, Ron. Thank you so much. Have a great Christmas, Ron.
You too. Appreciate it.
Eden Memorial Chapels understands Jewish funerals can take many forms. Some are Orthodox, while others are more conservative or of a Reformed nature. There's no one better. With services close to all New York and New Jersey cemeteries, Eden Memorial Chapels offer fair and balanced pricing and can provide easy transfer of you and your loved ones to Israel. While you're grieving, they're here to take care of all the details so that you deal with less bureaucracy and have more peace of mind. Go to EdenMemorial.com. That's EdenMemorial.com.
Larry Kudlow here with an urgent warning. While we celebrate Trump's historic win, inflation continues to drain your IRA and 401k. And China is now targeting your money with a kill shot on the dollar. That's why thousands of Americans are shielding their savings with gold and contacting the experts at Colonial Metals Group. Gold has protected American wealth through every financial war. For a free 2024 gold guide that explains everything, please go to freegoldguide.com/Kudlow or just call 800-621-3908. The experts at Colonial Metals Group are the only folks I trust to help you bulletproof your wealth with gold. Go to freegoldguide.com/Kudlow or just call 800-621-3908. That's 800-621-3908 for a free 2024 gold guide to learn how you can protect your life's work and if you qualify for a free home safe and up to $7,500 in free silver right now. Freegoldguide.com/Kudlow.